There may be times you fly straight into the runway versus entering the pattern. I recommend you avoid this for non-towered airports as it may disrupt the pattern unless you are sure there's no traffic around the airport, but be sure to communicate if you do. For towered airports, after you have let them know you are inbound to land, they may say something like this: maneuver for straight in for runway 8 left. You might also hear report 5 miles. If that is the case, you will respond by saying the following: flying straight in, runway 8 left, reporting 5 miles out, 905 kilo. At 5 miles out, if the tower requested it, say the following: Spirit Tower, Cessna November 20905 kilo, 5 miles to the west, inbound to land, runway 8 left. Whether the tower wanted you to report in or not at the 5 mile point, you must wait for the tower to say clear to land before you can land, so don't assume you can just land. Landing straight in is somewhat of an art that takes practice, so keep that in mind if you want to try this yourself. The first thing we'll do is focus on flaps and then back up and focus on other areas in other videos. My plan as I am descending is to transition just at about 4 miles out, or 2,500 feet, from 110 knots to 95 knots with 1 notch of flaps at 10 degrees. I will then add another notch of flaps for every 500 feet I descend, or roughly each mile. Each time I add flaps, the airplane will want to balloon, so I will have to push forward on the yoke a bit to counteract the ballooning. Now I'll add a second notch of flaps, or 20 degrees, at 85 knots, which is roughly 3 miles out. Now I'm adding a third notch of flaps, or 30 degrees, at 75 knots, which is roughly 2 miles out. Finally, I'm adding a fourth notch of flaps, or 40 degrees, for short final at 65 knots, which is roughly a mile or less out. Keep in mind that some aircraft only have 2 or 3 flap settings and not 4 like this one. When you use flaps, and how many flaps you use, at what airspeeds, and what descent rates will vary with wind conditions, terrain, who's flying behind you, and other factors. Be sure to subscribe to this channel to learn more.